I'm Rupert Neudeck. I was born in East Germany 76 years ago. In 79, I started an enterprise in humanitarian aims and targets and chartered a ship which was called Cap Anamur. We were going out into the South China Sea for rescuing boat people. This was becoming known all over Germany, maybe beyond Germany. And since then, we are engaged in humanitarian activities on land and on sea, in Africa, Latin America, Asia. The start of the activity was not with Cap Anamur. It was with a visit in Paris, which I did on the 1st of February, 79. I was there because I had a good opportunity to interview Jean-Paul Sartre, which was a very, very famous philosopher in this time. And but I met some people of the young generation in this time in Paris, and they told me what I was aware of in the time of the problem of Vietnamese boat people in the South China Sea. And not only this, but that the French had a committee, a French committee, a ship for Vietnam, started, and that this committee, a ship for Vietnam, had already chartered a ship in a country very far away from Europe, in New Caledonia, which is near the area in which Vietnam is and Cambodia and so on. And I was, in this moment, I was myself very much engaged in this activity. I only was running around to see how we could participate in this enterprise. And the French told me that the best would be we would start a fundraising campaign in Germany, because the French have always not enough money, and the Germans have, they thought. So I was coming back from this visit in Paris to Cologne, and I was very firmly decided to organize something, but I had no idea, I had no experience at all. I knew that it is not enough that I will go to a marketplace in Cologne or in Bonn or in Berlin or somewhere else and ask the people to give me some money for something which the French are organizing with their ship. I knew that it is important to have one for this enterprise, one who is so important and known, well known and famous in Germany, that no one will deny his authority. So I was writing in the train from Paris to Cologne, I was writing a letter to a very famous writer in Germany, who was based in Cologne, Heinrich Böll. Yeah. Heinrich Böll was very known in this former time. And 2 days later, I got an answer by telephone by Heinrich Böll. He said, Mr. Neudeck, we have to do this. We have to do this, and I will participate in this activity. And this was for me a kind of guarantee that we will have success. On the 18th of April, we made a press conference in Bonn. I have never made a press conference before, so it was very new for me. But the calculation was right, because Böll was there. All broadcasting and television stations were there, filming and reporting and so on. But this was not the event which was the breakthrough in the public opinion. You need always, if you have a big enterprise which you will start, you need a breakthrough. The breakthrough was coming only in the 11th of June in this year, 79. On this morning, I remember very well, in the morning, the news in the radio were telling us that the Interior Minister of Malaysia, Mr. Sri Ghazali, I know his name still, he has decided to tell the public in Malaysia and the world that any boat people coming with boats were not only pushed back, but it was also indeed an imperative that the Navy of Malaysia had to shoot on these boats. And this was a world news, and suddenly my public here in Germany, my co-citizens, were aware of a big disaster, which was already there. But this was the moment, the 11th of June was the moment when they were aware that we have to do something. Then it was 1 month later, on the 24th of July, that we had a big television film, made by a very famous journalist in this time, Dr. Franz Alt. He did a political magazine, Report Baden-Baden, and made a mission which only this subject, boat people in Vietnam and what the world has to do. There were films from Singapore, from Washington, from New York, from Paris, and at the end of this I was invited to come for the first time in my life for a so-called live interview for only 3 minutes, I remember. And now I know that 3 minutes in television is a lot. In this time I felt very neglected. But Franz Alt told me I have to do also something which is not allowed. I had to do to tell the people which count number we have in the bank for giving money for this enterprise. And I told the people in Germany that we have first to finance this French ship, but also if there's enough money we will have an own ship, a German ship, with German flag. And if we have enough money, we will do this. And after 3 days, I was in the bank in Cologne, and the result was 1.3 million German mark were collected, and this was the decision by the German society that we have to do also, besides the French ship, a German ship. 3 days later, I was going to a company in Hamburg to charter a ship. I was already informed by the armature that there is a ship which is already there in the area in Japan, and we made a charter treaty on this ship, which has a very, very strange name. And it was, in this time I said, nobody will accustom to this name in Germany, Cap Anamur. I don't know, what? We have to change the name, I thought. And we were so naive in this time that we thought, my information was that all people on these boats, Vietnamese people, could speak French, because it's French colony, and so we had in Japan, we were landing there in Kobe on the 5th of August with 8 doctors and 1 nurse, and we made in the night in big letters the new name, it was not Ile de Lumière, it was Port de Lumière. Port de Lumière. And up to now, I know, I think I only met once in my life a Vietnamese who could speak fluently French.
And another one.
Yeah, another one, second one, yeah. So, but it doesn't matter. This was going out then, and we started a rescue operation. And we have done this for about two following years against the will and the wish of the German government and of the governments of German federal states. We had one prime minister of one federal state who was our friend in this time. It was the prime minister of Lower Saxony, Mr. Ernst Albrecht. He was a friend of this activity, and we visited him, and we had a good support by him. But all the others were against. And this was my experience, that in a free society, this is so fantastic, in a free society you can do something, activities which are sometimes against the expressive will of the government. This was this activity. Cap Anamur was against the government. We could follow this activity up to June 82, because we had the support of the German society. We had millions of funders who did this ship. So it was not a ship by me or by a company or by a committee. It was a ship by the German society. And this was because we were in a way so successful with saving Vietnamese boat people out of the sea. We needed, from the beginning on, we needed a guarantee, because the situation in the neighbor countries of Vietnam were the same conditions as today in 2015 with the people Rohingya out of Myanmar, who were also escaping on boats to Malaysia or to other countries. They are all very, very clear enemies of integrating refugees. So it was only one way. We had to bring them to Germany or to Europe, with the French ship to France, with the German ship to Germany. And because of the collective will and wish of the German population, the government didn't dare to deny this. So we had the so-called success of this enterprise. These, with the first ship, 9,507 people saved with this ship were saved because government could not deny the will of the population. We get always, when we were going with a ship full of refugees, or Vietnamese refugees, we were going into a harbor. Not all harbors were ready for transit entrance. Singapore denied this after 1 year. So we had to look for another harbor, another country, only for transit time, not for lifetime. So we found that the state of Philippines was the only country in the area which was friendly, in a way friendly, to Vietnamese refugees, not the other ones. So we could bring them in the 2 other years to Puerto Princesa in a Philippines island, and but any any drive of Cap Anamur to this harbor was accompanied by a letter from our foreign minister, Genscher, who had to subscribe this with his own writing, that anyone who was going there on shore of Philippines Island had the right and the obligation, the German government has the obligation to put them to Germany after half a year, latest. So what we did not know was that these people were all very warmly welcomed in Germany. We were not sure, because refugees are not always and everywhere welcomed. But here in our countries, in our federal states, we could see with our own eyes, also here in this town where we are doing this interview, we could see that people were very much sympathizing, compassionate with the fate of these people. And on the other side, the Vietnamese boat people were also very, very quick adapting to life, weather, temperature, clothes, eating ways of Germans, and language, which is very difficult, because it's the same difficulty for them to learn German as for us to learn Vietnamese. And I failed to learn it. I started once, but it was so difficult that I gave up. So it was, for German society, it was, policy people are telling me this, it was a success story. For me it was not a success story, because I was always aware that we were coming late. We could have saved more. More people are drowning in the sea and lost their lives. We had only the good experience to stop some dying of these people in the sea with our ship. Yeah. So success is not a word of humanitarian activity. Success is something else. But for our lives, it was good that we had the clear understanding that in this time we tried to do something to stop the drowning of people in the South China Sea, to stop the tragedy of these people, and to save some of them on our ship. We know that there was no one else in the sea, let me say. There was not the American fleet, which was participating in this enterprise. There was almost no commercial ship. There was one or two who did this once. And this was brave and this was encouraging. But we know from that many commercial ships were going besides refugee boats. I was not in the situation and the attitude to criticize them very much, because I know that it's difficult for a captain of a commercial ship to stop the enterprise, to take on refugees, then to make a deviation, which is very costly. So it is not easy for them to do this, but it was only this activity and the activity of the French people and the activity of a Norwegian ship which was coming together in this enterprise on the South China Sea. And I have the pride to say that my people were the people which was on the long run. The French ship had finished her activities in 79, the Norwegian in midst of 80. We were coming we were going up to the mid of 82, and we have afterwards we have another activity, two boats in 86 and 87. So all about it was 11,300 people, which was saved by this German experience. If you are aware of the tragedy of human lives, then you have to do something at once. But in our world, at once doing is very difficult. Also today, we are trying now to organize something here with the church, with the two churches, Catholic, Protestant and others, an activity of life savings, because I think religions are all aware that they have the obligation to save people. Yeah? But it's difficult because we have bureaucracy, we have laws, we have hindrances, we have arguments, we have reasons for not doing something. We have always reasons for not doing something. Also in this time, I was surrounded by people, I was surrounded by experts, yeah, who told me that it is impossible, yeah, because there is the jurisdiction of the sea is not yet ratified, and there are pirates in the Gulf of Siam. There is the Vietnamese Coast Guard. There are Soviet ships in the sea, and so all reasons which would let some reasonable men to say no, I can't do it. But this is in question of life and death. You have to make a choice. You have to say no. We have to do this, whether it is possible or not possible. It's not guaranteed that it's not possible. The maybe is not possible. We had many situations in the first time of this ship, which were big obstacles, yeah? I have not told you the story. Before our saving started, we had a situation which was very, very dangerous for me, for myself. In November, our captain was phoning us here in this room, telling us that he, as a captain of Cap Anamur, was phoned by the captain of the Andersmaersk, a ship of with Danish flag, a commercial ship. The captain told our German captain that there is a boat overloaded. He estimated 185 people overloaded, totally overloaded. He said they will not be saved by themselves, so I can take them, but I will do this only when you are coming and overtake them. And you know, by worldwide jurisdiction, whether Canada or US, Germany, France, this is not allowed. Yeah, because if you are on the platform of a ship, you can't go to another one. SOS is only once, not twice. Yeah. But I know that we had to save them. So it's a dilemma. But we said, yes, of course you have to do it. What else? Sure, you have to do it. This is the ship which is the only purpose of this ship is not to bring Coca-Cola to Singapore, but it is the purpose of this ship is to save people. And if this captain is telling you he is able to let them drown in the sea, because nobody will see them afterwards. Yeah? So, and then it was a very, very critical situation, because the Foreign Office in Germany was aware of this, because this communication is open on the sea. So they knew it. And I was a criminal, because I did something against the law. Yeah?
Yeah.
Against the law. More. So sometimes you have to do something which is against regulations. If you think that life saving is more important than anything else. Yeah? So it is not easy, but I think it is not a question of that we are going to life with our mankind and it is easy. Never, no one promised me that it is easy to have a good and moral life. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you have to decide for this enterprise, and then you have to go on. This ship was chartered by a company. We chartered this ship, but the ship was organized and managed by this company. This is also, this is the only way to do this, because if you are buying this ship, then you have the obligation to have a captain and a sub-captain and officers and so on, navigatory crew. This is not the aim of a humanitarian agency. We have a ship which is organized technically, professionally by a company. And this was done by this company, QUČC, in Hamburg. And we had to change the flag, because almost all ships on world sea are with convenience flag. Panama, Cyprus, Liberia, yeah? But the guarantee of our government was going only to a ship with German flag. And we did it. I was, from time to time, on board of the ship, yeah? And with translators, with people who could speak English, I was able to speak with them. It was wonderful to see this, because some of these people have already finished with their lives. They were not sure that they will overcome. And then there was this moment that, which is like something which is a miracle, that with megaphone, Vietnamese on board was telling them, this is a ship only for you, because all the other ships were going besides. And the ship, you have to be careful, come nearer, nearer, yeah, so that we can save you. Then some of the people, especially Buddhist people, were telling us that this was like a rebirth, a second birth. Yeah, I can understand this. And I see in the faces of the people that in this moment on board of this ship, in safety, they were only in this situation, in this moment, they were aware of what they have done. Because what they have done was necessary, but it was also a tragedy. Because life of a refugee is always a tragedy, because you are losing your home country for time, maybe forever. You are losing it in the way you can have a relationship up to the end of your life, but it is going out, deciding to go out, yeah. And then it was more dramatic for Vietnamese boat people, because the government tell us in Germany that these people will not take, the government will not take them back. So they lost their citizenship with this decision. So I think it was it was wonderful to see how brave these people are. And it is up to now in Germany a good example to tell young people what is human life. Because human life is sometimes that you are losing, that you are going out of a condition of life and looking for another situation in which you can live as a human being.